Make the deal.
What about this? But maybe this.
I knew you'd come. It was just a matter of time.
Yeah, I'm here, so what's the deal?
Sting, I'm going to finish what I started in Baltimore. When I get done with you, you'll wish you'd never been born.
You talk too much. Get to the point. What's the deal?
Sting, relax. What's your hurry? I'm going to take my time and enjoy this moment.
Cut the crap! Do I have to come over there and kick your...
Sting, you don't get it, do you, man? You don't have a clue. Look around you. This is my playground. These are my people. I'm smiling, not you. It's come down to this. You see, the deal is on the wheel. At Halloween Havoc, your worst nightmare will come true. 12 of the toughest and most brutal matches in wrestling.
That's right. Brutal. Brutal.
You see, on the wheel, there's a cage match. There's a barbed wire match. There's a death match. Or there might even be a mystery match. But you see, the deal is, man, you gotta step up and spin that wheel. Once you spin it, where it stops, that's what you and I are gonna do. And what happens? Well, we both go in the ring. One man comes out. The other? Well, no.
You think I'm afraid of some wheel? You think I'm afraid of you?
Step out of the fog, Sting. Clear your head. You're not thinking. I'm the master of all these matches. This is no game for me. This is fun, but it's not a game. We play it on my turf and my terms. So good luck, Sting. You're gonna need it.
So what are you waiting for? Let's do it now.
To be continued. At Halloween Havoc 92. October 25th. Live, only on pay-per-view.
This is the Pro Wrestling Spotlight, presented by HAMIN Media and the Pro Wrasslin Reflection, where we discuss the very best of the best in pro wrestling history.
And what you gonna do when Hulkamania and the largest arms in the world run wild on you?
The two soundest wrestlers in the World Wrestling Federation, maybe in the history of the World Wrestling Federation, are right here, right now. Mr. Perfect and the excellence of execution, the Hitman.
WrestleMania weekend isn't complete without the Heartbreak Kid, and he is on his way.
He put hard times on Dusty Rhodes and his family.
They think they got the answers. I change the question.
You will rest in peace.
Get used to it in Ric Flair. Who you're looking at, the man.
What is going on there, Reflection Knights? What is going on there to the Vetoites, the Haminites, and the probationary solitary confinement PWCites? What is going on to all the ites all over the world? You know, the crazy Israelites, the crazy Iranianites, the Iraqi-ites, all the ites that are going crazy with their soccer jerseys right now. It's World Cup season. I know TW's got his U.S. soccer jersey, so it's all
I should have wore it. I have it. I should have wore it.
Why didn't you wear it?
I forgot.
It's the season. Jesus Christ. But anyway, well, you got a whole bunch of weeks to do it. But anyway, neither here nor there. But World Cup is going crazy. And since we were off last week because executive producer extraordinaire Big Ray Hernandez has been celebrating, as well, TW has called him the sore winner. So he's going to be the sorest of winners. Not in the butthole, but he's going to be sore. The New York Knickerbockers have won the NBA championships. And shout out to Colin Weissong. He is celebrating just, well, I don't know if he's a sore winner, TW, but that's, you know, that's subjective.
He's a very gracious winner.
Okay, he's a gracious winner. So Ray's the sore winner. Colin is the gracious winner. But he's as gracious as ever because the Carolina Hurricanes are the Stanley Cup champions. Damn, TW, everybody is winning that, you know, is affiliated with us. So hopefully for me, in October, I'll be celebrating when my New York Yankees become World Series champions, or maybe you and the Detroit Tigers, you'll be celebrating there. Wait, you laughing about that?
Tigers are fucking horrible. What are you talking about?
You remember the movie Major League? Remember when the Cleveland Indians were last place and they came out of nowhere? What happened to the Detroit Tigers? I'm just saying.
You remember when the Tigers last year were in first place and lost it on the last day of the season after being in first place for like 12 games?
Well, that happens. I'm just saying, but you know,
shits.
Good luck can shine on the Pro Wrasslin Reflection here at the HAMIN Media Group at podbean.com. But before we get into the show, because this is a very combination type of show, Reflection, but we'll explain that in a couple of seconds. But I must introduce myself because I am vain like that. I must introduce myself because I gotta get the grays out of my hair and the grays out of my nose and the grays out of my toes. I am the effervescent one. You hear that, Jimmy T? Effervescent one. I am the studious one. I am the sexy one. But most importantly, I am the glorious one. The only objective man in this IWC, YWC, PWC punditry. The only objective man in this Twitterverse. The only objective man in this social media conundrum. Your friend of mine, the Professor Chavez Cruz. And I'm not here alone. No. I'm here with my brother from another mother, the conservative liberal, the liberal conservative, the solo idiot, Dr. Frickenstein, the iron stomach one, and the undisputed, undeniable Detroit Rock City Universal Heavyweight Champion of the world, the Tommy Wonder. How you doing, my friend?
I am got a little bit of laryngitis situation. But I'm sitting here perplexed because every week I do the show with this guy named Professor. For some reason today I'm doing it with Savio Vega. I don't understand. Pre-Los Borges gear, Savio Vega. That, you got a job at SeaWorld. I don't know. Something's going on here You dress like a DC superhero. I would say Marvel, but they wear sleeves. And I'm just confused as what's going on with your wardrobe today.
You know what? I'll take the Savio Vega Los Barricos reject kind of shtick.
No, before he was Los Barricos.
Oh, you're talking about, PR? Puerto Rico's Savio Vega? Oh, that worked. When he wore the red? Yeah, that was working, man. What are you talking about? That was untapped potential.
Mountain.
That was not Mexican. Puerto Rican mountain. Get it right. Get your Hispanics right, okay? Anyway, here to this.
Tan skin, guys.
That man is a legend. He was Quang. Don't disrespect Savio Vega like that, man. My man was Quang. My man was the Bruiqra. My man was a World Wrestling Council champion and all that.
Nation of Domination.
Of course, he was that too. So everything worked out like that. So, shut us. Maybe we might have to do an untapped potential spotlight on Savio Vega.
What are you talking about?
If I'm wearing this,
you'd have to do the 9 lies of Savio Vega and how he never got over. That's what that show would be called.
No, that I would call it the conspiracy why he didn't get over. But anyway, since you say I look like Savio Vega, we must do an untapped potential Savio Vega spotlight. But again, neither here nor there. But with that being said, welcome to the PWR podcast here at the HAMIN Media Group at PodBeam.com, and welcome to a very special TW. I'm going to call it a spotlight movie edition of this special episode, because we are going to go back to the 1990s Reflectionites, and we are going to discuss something that was very, you could say, ahead of its time, TW, because we are going to talk about the movie cinematic vignettes that WCW did in the early to mid 90s. And Reflectionites, before I let TW have a spiel here, let me explain to you why this was so innovative. Because people might say, if you've been a wrestling fan like TW and myself for 40 plus years, you'll all think you'll have a Mandela effect, so to speak. You'll be like, there's been cinema stuff in wrestling for decades, Professor. Yes and no. Now, let me explain to this, TW, because in the cinematic world, for the WWE, let's say in the 80s, during the rock and wrestling era, their cinema stuff were introductions and vignettes to introduce a new wrestler coming into the WWF, or introduce a new character change.
Razor Ramon.
Right. That's a cinematic vignette, but it was one person. It was to be invested in one person. Another cinematic vignette, TW, we could talk about is Ricky the Dragon Steamboat becoming the Dragon. There was multiple cinema vignettes or promignettes, as Jimmy T would say, of Ricky Steamboat fighting off the ninjas and turning into the Dragon. So those things are cinematic, TW. But this, when we're going to talk about for the WCW Movie Madness episode, TW, this is different, and this is innovative for a different reason, because WCW was technically the first in America to do a cinematic promignette, TW, with 2 competing wrestlers, movie style and all that stuff. Nobody, what? Go ahead.
Mm-mm.
Who did it before them?
You're going to disagree, but that stuff World Class did with Jimmy Garvin, and when he had to work on the Von Erich Ranch, that was cinema. That was great. That was fucking Cinemax cinema back then.
But technically, okay, I will give you that. It was more after the fact, because remember, Jimmy Garvin lost his match to a Von Erich, and then they did certain cinema stuff after the fact. But what I'm talking about is cinema stuff before the match.
The
setup. The setup, the thing. That, I'm not even arguing with you. That is cinema. That was some funny shit too. And don't get me wrong, but the comedy happened after the fact. We're talking about shit before a match comes into fruition. If you will, Reflection, you agree with that? I'm not even disputing that. That was cinema. Kudos
I agree.
to TW.
I agree.
But TW, what say you before we even talk about these cinema classics, cinema shit stains? I don't know what you want to call it, but what do you think about these cinema classics from the 1990s of WCW? Because they were trying to separate them. They actually separated themselves to a degree from WWE, because like I said, WWE was doing cinema but a solo act. This is cinema setting up a match. This was
the prequel to Thunder Ice in Paradise, or whatever the hell that show was called. This was
Thunder in Paradise?
This was bad acting. How Sting starts off brutal, but thankfully gets better as he does more of these things. But the only question I have is A, how long is he going? And B, how the hell is Hornswoggle in every single one of them?
Yes, there's a midget. We're going to talk about this. There's a considerable midget 3 times in a row. Reflection. I said we'll get into that in a second. So
Hornswoggle.
Well, I don't know if it was Hornswoggle or Hornswoggle Senior, but anyway, neither here nor there. But again, TW, we're kidding a little bit here, Reflectionites, but I'm going to be the objective one here. And I'm going to give them their flowers, TW. You might not agree with this because, again, like I said, they actually separated themselves from WWE, which was very surprising to me because I was thinking about this. And then, like I said, think about the stuff setting up for WWE even in the rock and wrestling era. Even the first WrestleMania main event, TW, Hogan and Mr. T and Piper and Orndorff. People might say, Professor, there was cinema right there. Like, no, they did cinema training sessions. Solo, themselves. They did not interact with each other to set up. The interactions were in the ring. The interactions was at MSG to set up the match again for WrestleMania. So that's the thing. That's the difference. But TW, they did cinematic shit like Hogan training Mr. T and shit like that for WrestleMania and shit like that. So TW, before we even talk about the WCW movie Madness Wheel, you talked about a good one with David Von Erich and gorgeous Jimmy Garvin from World Class. What did you like? You've always been critical about cinema stuff for wrestling, or am I wrong here? Or is it a Mandela effect for me?
I don't like cinema matches.
Okay.
I also don't like bad acting.
Well, you can't help it.
Also, it's right here. As I watch Sting in these vignettes, I wonder, how the hell do I call him one of my favorite wrestlers ever? But here's what I think. As a kid, I didn't realize it was David Von Erich. I figured it was Kevin. As a kid, when I watched Jimmy Garvin and Precious on the Von Erich Ranch, it just felt like, and the camera style was different. Right? Between what we're going to talk about with WCW and WCCW. It felt like a live news bit, like live on the street. Let's go over to Von Erich Ranch. It felt real. It felt like he really was forced to work. He's baling haze, falling in horse shit, and just looks miserable. It never looked like acting. And I think it must have been David Von Erich when he gave him his orders or whatever, whoever gave him his orders, laughed a little bit and then left. They didn't fight. It was like good sportsmanship, if you will, right? Even though Jimmy's a heel, he still lived up to his end of the deal and worked on the ranch.
Right.
These things, fuck. I'm going to tell you, the first one we should talk about is...
Well, when you talk about the ranch thing, it was Bill Mercer, who was on the mic, kind of like updating the wrestling fans.
Right, like a news hit. Yeah. Remote, they call them.
Yeah.
I almost got to do that in Lima, Ohio for 92 Zoo. They wanted to hire me to do remotes. I didn't want to live in Lima, Ohio. But the best at all of them, if right off the top, you're going to agree with me 100%. The guy who still came across is the same guy live in the ring with a microphone, who looked serious. He even took a couple horrible written lines, still made them good because he read them as himself, and he always came across that way, is Jake the Snake. No matter how bad everything else is around him, Jake was pretty good. And he also did it in WWF. He did it with the Ultimate Warrior when he was trying to get Warrior to help him embrace the dark side or whatever and turn on him. And that's how he went heel. But Jake...
And for Reflection Nice Time, say... Wait, before you would, I didn't mean to interrupt you. Before people get in the comments of the YouTube channel, TW got you, Professor. Warrior and Jake the Snake 91 didn't lead to a match, but it was cinematic. He was training Warrior.
Why didn't it lead to a match?
or he got fired.
That's why. Okay. And then Jake did the snake
right
at the wedding.
And then they pivot to Macho Man with the wedding shit. But again, it didn't lead to a match. So that's why I keep saying WCW was the first. But before people try to correct the professor, it was cinematic. It is cinematic, don't get me wrong. But it was a turn, but it didn't lead to anything. That's all I will say. Go ahead, Tito.
And I wasn't trying to him. So you did that on your own. That's your guilty conscience.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just saying, Jake always came across as Jake. Sting in that particular cinema fucking bar looks like a shitty Mad Max.
We'll get into that. We'll get into that. I'll give the logistics, but you don't like the way Sting portrayed himself acting wise
in the first one. He got better, but the best supporting actor goes to this guy. Came off as Gene Hackman every time he talked, except for he froze. Like they yelled "cut too late," and he froze quite a few times. But God rest his soul, Harley Race was all in on his shit. And lastly, the guy who also came across as himself, not as good as Jake, but you still felt like you were watching the same guy on Saturday night as you did on these vignettes, is Colonel Robert Parker. It still felt like Colonel Robert Parker.
Okay. Well, like I said, we will talk about the acting abilities of a lot of these wrestlers here. But with that being said, Reflectionites, we're going to enjoy this. Again, this is not a PWR at the WCW, but it kind of feels like it because these were cinematic vignettes that build up to something. So the first one, Reflectionites, we will talk about is the infamous one with Jake the Snake Roberts and Sting. Spin the wheel, make the deal. Halloween Havoc 1992. The concept, TW, was okay. Don't get me wrong, because that wheel had a lot of death matches, unsanctioned matches, and shit like that. But then the result was underwhelming. But before we get to that underwhelming part, we're not going to talk about the match, Reflectionites, because again, it doesn't matter who won or lost. We're going to talk about the movie itself, because again, like I said, this is very innovative for WCW to kind of pivot. But you know what, TW, before we even talk about spin the wheel, make the deal, let me ask you this question, because I think I know your answer, but I think you probably will agree with this. We've always said that people try to keep up with the Joneses of the WWF or WWE, whatever you want to call it. So as innovative as this was, I think you might agree, this is WCW's attempt to beat WWE Light, to be compared to WWE, to be mainstream and not to be that Southern wrestling sports-oriented program. What say you, TW, about that?
And not surprisingly, is their worst years of business in the history of the NWA and WCW. It's like, it's almost like the fans down there didn't want that stuff. And this stuff is right around the time Hogan comes there. I'm going to assume it's right around the time Vince McMahon says wrestling's not real.
Well, Vince McMahon said wrestling's not real in 1986 or 1985, so you already said that.
But you know what I mean. The full-on 90s one and the trial for steroids.
Gotcha.
The timing was right to give it a try. If you try doing this stuff with Bob Caudle selling it as sport, it's an embarrassment.
That is true.
To make people think wrestling's real and then to have that. Sid and Vader coming off boats in their gear. Except Vader's got on Jordans and Sid's got on sandals on.
It's funny you say that, because you know what? With Spin the Wheel, Make the Deal, Reflectionites, guess who had to sell it? Jim Ross. It was 1992. He didn't come to WWE until 1993. But, Jim Ross has always been that kind of sports-oriented guy. He's always trying to steer wrestling into sports-centric shit. But again,
always referencing college football, if there's a guy that played it, or NFL, like a Dusty Rhodes or Wahoo, if they played in the NFL.
I'm sure before the camera lights hit, he's like, I got to read this crap. I got to sell this to the people.
Vince called me. I'm going to take it.
Yes. Well, he wore a toga, so I don't know if that was a good substitute for that. But anyway, neither here nor there. So with that being said, we're going to talk about the 1992 Spin the Wheel, Make the Deal. So logistically, TW, I'll try to abbreviate it for the Reflectionites as best as I can. This took place at the Blue Oyster Bar. And with that being said,
that's why you were there.
I was not there.
By the way, shout out to Big Ray's Blue Oyster Bar tattoo he got down in Florida with Big Vito.
There you go. You know, he loves the Blue Oyster Bar, and he had a Blue Oyster tattoo imprinted on his arm. So,
yep.
But TW, it took place at the Blue Oyster Bar. There was nothing but bikers and you know, village people rejects, and if you will. You had to come into the door, Reflectionites, saying the code. The bouncer said, spin the wheel, and you had to know the code afterwards. Make the deal. And the person that said make the deal was Medusa. Then you see Hornswoggle Sr. on the table, just giddy about saying, spin the deal, spin the wheel, make the deal. Then you got the rejects just going, stomping on the tables, you know, punching the table, saying, spin the wheel, make the deal, spin the wheel, make the. And my man, Jake the Snake Roberts, who's already high on cocaine, just, you know, just looking.
Probably has a rat under the table.
He is high as a kite, smiling and giggling, trying to be the ulterior master and all that stuff. So with that being said, TW, the ambiance is funny to me. The extras are funny to me, and Hornswoggle Sr. is funny to me. You know, shouting out, spin the wheel, make the deal, and Jake the Snake is being the ultimate straight man, but we know he's high as a kite. What say you about the ambiance?
It's hilarious. A couple times I caught myself going, what's Jake thinking right now? I can't wait to get back to WWE. What am I doing here? I need to find God.
You sure he's saying I can't wait to get back to WWE? He was supposed to get a raise. This was his baby. This was his vision. This was his creative. This just got fucked up by Bill Watts.
Got fucked up by low budget acting.
Well, that too. But you know, it got fucked up two ways.
The worst thing of all.
Mm-hmm.
Jake's wearing a leather jacket and either a Sting t-shirt or his own merch.
Yeah, I think it was a Sting t-shirt.
In full gear. Mm-hmm. Full gear, like he's in fucking the Omni.
Wait. We got to do this right. You know, for the audio Reflectionites, please subscribe to the YouTube channel because my man Sting came busting through the door. He didn't say no code, TW. He did not say anything. My man just was posing like Superman. It was funny. The door just blew up, and then he just looks like Superman, a reject of Superman, just you know, folding his arms and shit like that. And then, you know, Jake the Snake, and now Sting is trying. Now, you're right. The acting of Sting is very suspect in the first one, the spin the wheel, because he's looking at Jake and like, what's my line? You can feel it. It's like, what's my line? What's my line? All right, Jake, what's going on here? Come on, man. He sounds so robotic.
I'm here. What do you want?
This was so ridiculous. And now, you know,
this
with
makes
that
Wrestlers vs. Zombies look like Shakespeare.
Yes, it does. But you know what? You know what it is? I'll at least say this because I was going to say it for the end, but I'll say it right now while we're talking about this. I have a more appreciation for Matt Hardy and what he did in 2016 and 2017 for his deletion cinematics. Yeah. I have appreciation for Bray Wyatt and the Firefly Funhouse stuff that he did. So you can never appreciate. And I know you might not agree with this. I have an appreciation for the cinematic AEW Spring Stampede during the COVID pandemic and what they try to do and all that stuff. So with that being said, TW, the back and forth between Sting and Jake the Snake Roberts was comical at best. Hornswoggle Sr. was jumping up like that. He was giddy. Spin the wheel, make the deal. Spin the wheel, make the deal. Spin the wheel. And Medusa, after one thing she said in the beginning, she just kept looking like a hooker. She looked like a ring rat, just waiting to spin.
Porn star.
Yeah, looked like a porn star.
I'm looking at it going, dude, I don't remember Medusa being that hot ever. And she was smoke showing this thing. And she was hot in AWA. But Alundra Blaze, she had that horrible onesie and just looked like a soccer mom. And so and she has not aged well. But
no, she's aged well now because now she's like
Missy High or Dangerous Alliance Medusa. She's hot stuff.
But Again, she was a hot piece of ass in WCW more than she was as a Lunder Blaze in WWF. So, any closing thoughts about spin the wheel, make the deal, and because once they hit
to end without telling me what the fuck match is gonna be. To be continued at Fall Brawl.
No, Halloween Havoc, because you had to pay $39.99 to know what the wheel spun to. You had to find out. It cost you $39, TW, to find out it was a coal miner's glove match.
Hey, I opened this last week. I've had it for years. Fitting to use it here. He spun the wheel and sealed his deal to become this big motherfucker. This is huge, dude.
All right.
And Jeff gave me this. Jeff Kavanaugh.
Oh, that's nice of Jeff.
Still needs more prayers, man. He's got spreading cancer, so.
Let's just hope for the best. But any closing thoughts? Because that's what I said. Any closing? Well, hope and pray. Let's do both. But anyway, any closing thoughts about spin the wheel, make the deal? Because once you had the match, TW. Let me just say this: coal miner's glove match. I was pissed off. You had everything you could have done. You could have done a Texas Tornado match. You could have done a anywhere anything goes match. You could have done anything by the concession stand and all that stuff, but they wasted it on a coal miner's glove match. Because the reason I didn't like the coal miner's glove match is because Jake the Snake wasn't that agile. He doesn't go off the top. He doesn't do things off the top. He's cerebral. Everything is about him. Yes, it was only obvious that Sting was the only one that was athletic enough to go off the top and get the fucking coal miner's glove shit. I would have done better with a strap match. I would have done better with a bull rope match. I would have done better with a lumberjack match. So TW, what say? Because it was underwhelming for the result.
What if? This is 92?
Mm-hmm.
What if it was a shoot and that's what it landed on?
I think it probably was.
Right? What are you going to do?
Because they fixed it the next time between Vader and Cactus Jack was a better match.
That's what I was about to ask. Was this Cactus Jack's debut? But it was a year later, right?
No, he was in WCW for all those years, since 90.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, he came earlier. But I remember him doing something big at Halloween Havoc to make it like... No, he brought Abdullah in the box.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, okay. That's what I'm thinking of. So here's what I would say. When it landed on the coal miner's glove match, and since it was supposed to be set up to stack the deck against Sting, they should have said it backfired on Jake and it landed on a match that favored Sting. But they probably were like, what the fuck is a coal glove? And they didn't even know what it was and thought, well, I guess that's what we're doing.
If we're going to nitpick, the thing I will say, TW, is this is Jake's wheel. He can manipulate the wheel to his best match, and Sting's worst
maybe
match.
He thought he can handle one. Maybe he just thought about what happens if he has the glove on, but not how the hell do I get it?
It's funny, TW, because we'll go to the next two. We'll go to the next vignettes reflection I said in a moment, but we have to get back to this because now TW and I are now nitpicking because of the booking. The booking just doesn't make sense because, like I said, Jay can manipulate this, and we never really heard Sting's fears of other matches. Sting is the hero. Sting is the ultra hero. He will go through the depths. He'll go through the depths of hell for what is right, for the mighty right, and all that stuff. What say you, TW, about that? Because it just doesn't make no logistical sense.
Did you say white is right?
No, might is right.
Gotcha. No, it's just. Here's what I'll tell you. This is what I'm going to end it on.
Mm-hmm.
All that stuff aside, we tease it now, we mock it now. But as a kid, this shit did not turn me off. I thought it was good. I was happy. Sting, I was scared for him. It had me invested, not $39.99 invested, because I still didn't know that was the match. But it did. I did not hate it. And to be fair, there are much worse cinema in WCW movie madness. Much worse.
Yes,
this is the best of the worst.
You really, well, I guess Jake the Snake saves it because, like you said,
absolutely.
He makes it serious, Reflection Night. So with that being said, let's go on to maybe one of the worst movie madness vignettes out there. And we're going to talk about the White Castle of Fear, Reflection Nights. This is February of 1993 between Big Van Vader, TW, and Sting. Okay. Now, Sting at least had to walk to the Blue Oyster Bar. My man Sting had to travel on a helicopter to the Andes Mountains to try to find Big Van Vader's White Castle of Fear, TW. I ain't even talking about the midget yet. I ain't talking about what's inside the White Castle. I'm just talking about the optics. My man has to go on a helicopter to find the White Castle of Fear.
And in the fucking depths of Alaska somewhere, or the Himalayas, but he's somewhere with snow and a helicopter. It's a weird look. And I believe he's flying it, and he has someone at headquarters going, "We found the castle, Sting." It's brutal. It is absolutely Baywatch Nights meets Airwolf.
And let's not forget Reflectionites, with just him in the helicopter. He's not speaking. He's thinking, and we can actually hear his thoughts. That's funny shit right there.
But
I'm hearing what? Okay,
but his acting's better.
That's not acting, man. He's thinking.
No, I mean when he finally gets to the castle.
Okay, we'll talk about that.
Acting's better, and he's dressed in party clothes and said, "Let's party." He's not. Why am I here? What do you want, Jake?
Okay, that's true. Now, logistically, Reflectionites, the helicopter lands. He enters the White Castle of Fear. Now, the ambiance is nothing like the Blue Oyster Bar because Vader is all man. He's a heterosexual man. So he has about a dozen ring rats and Hornswoggle Sr. try to look like Mini Vader with the panda robe and shit like that. There's no wheel, no nothing. So with that being said, Sting is entering the White Castle of Fear. He's not nervous because he sees ring rats, TW. So, again, he's a young man with needs. So he sees hookers there. He knows he's gonna get some. So, and they were actually happy to see Sting and all that stuff. So
you're like, yeah, that dick, like you did at the Blue Oyster Bar.
No, that was Ray. That's why you got the tattoo. I don't have no tattoo. See, no tattoo. But anyway,
you were just in the side alley in San Francisco. I forgot. It's different.
I don't know what the hell you're talking about. There's no tape.
That shirt on you do.
This is the Savio Vega,
Are there
special.
tassels on the bottom of that shirt and down the spine?
There is nothing there. So what the hell's wrong with you? But anyway,
tell them which game you had a ticket to for the NBA Finals.
Oh, 6. It just didn't work out. But anyway, the MVP, as you said, TW, of the White Castle of Fear Pro Vignettes is Harley Race, and it's not his acting, Reflectionites. It's his laughter. He's laughing like the evil land baron from all those movies from the 30s. The
Roadhouse.
40s. And yeah, Roadhouse. So TW, what say you about Harley Race and Vader's just
dude? It was this vignette when Harley comes up to Vader, who's like shadowbox masturbating, and he comes up to him and goes, "Vader, Stinger's here," and I'm like, "That's motherfucking Gene Hackman right there." I'm like, "This dude's gonna win an Academy Award."
He should have won something, but again,
and they had the Razzies. They had the Razzies back then, a Slammy Award version of WCW.
Well, they got two. This is 2 Razzies in a row. So while Sting is waiting for Big Van Vader to stop masturbating and shadowboxing at the same time and stop the laughter, the ring rats are now telling Sting, Reflectionites, "You are going to lose to Vader." Now, here's where it gets a little bit tricky for the 2P continue because they were trying to be original with this.
Right.
So now Big Van Vader and Sting are opposite of a table. Big Van Vader has got to move the food out of the way and say what he wants out of Sting. He wants a strap match. I was waiting for Yappa Pie, like Hogan said in Monday Nitro, but he didn't say that. He didn't say the Yappa Pie because then I would have laughed my ass off for it. But anyway, he was trying to be serious. The White Castle of Fear strap match. And now here's where it gets funny. He gives Sting the strap on the other end because he's already tied to it, TW.
Yep.
Now the funny part is fire starts bursting out on this table, and now it turns into over the top with Sylvester Stallone because now they're pulling. It's a tug of war with
into
the strap.
fire.
Into the fire. And the funniest part, I don't know if this is the acting that you're talking about, TW, was Sting was losing the tug of war, and he was sliding onto the table where the fire was. He was about to burn up, and just before he was about to burn Reflectionites, it fade to black. To be continued. You must know what happens at Beach Blast. No, not Beach Blast. Super Brawl 3. for WCW pay-per-view purposes, TW. This was the funniest shit because it was a bad tug of war. But again, you're trying to sell for the White Castle of Fear strap match. So TW, what say you about all the stuff here? Or you was just paying attention to the ring rats?
The tug of war, the second I saw the tug of war, I'm like, okay. And then I saw the fire. I go, what the fuck? The strap's just going to burn off. It's going to burn right in half. But I thought it was crazy to me. A couple of the ring rats, I thought I was trying to recognize them. Like, there's one I was like, is that Fallen Angel? I'm like, nope, she's way hotter. And then I was like, is that Sable? I'm like, nope, she's ugly. And they're all trying to suck his dick. And then one of them goes, this is where it all goes bad for you, Stanger. Like, they were there to give him AIDS. And I was like, what the fuck is going on here? And it's still not as bad as some of the ones we're going to talk about. But I just thought it's an improvement for Sting, for sure. But still dumb as shit.
Okay, wait. Spin the wheel. He had bad lines. White Castle of Fear, he's tug of warring TW and losing and then sliding into a fire table. That's not good acting. That's not even a good good consistency.
It's not good filmmaking.
Now, I will say this, TW. We're not going to talk about the match because, again, the match it is what it is. But a strap match is way better than a coal miner's glove match. So that's all I will say about that. So, the embarrassment of the spin the wheel, at least they knew, okay, let's just do a strap match. Do you agree with the strap match concept, or should they did a better no holds bar type of match in your humble opinion? I know it's hindsight, but anyway,
I personally loathe no holds bars matches. Okay. I loathe concession stands matches, falls count anywhere match. I fucking loathe them all. Do some of them have memorable moments? No.
What the fuck was that?
That was a fucking sneeze that hurt. That hurt. But a strap match, as long as it's short, I don't like a long one. But a strap match is basically a bull rope match, right? And as shitty as it looked like it was going to be on paper, a bull rope match that I thought was pretty good. Maybe if I go back and watch it now with experience, maybe I will change that opinion. But as a huge fan of the guy that was wrestling the other guy, who I thought this is definitely in his wheelhouse and it's not good for my guy, but was Lex Luger versus Stan Hansen, especially the finish where Stan's dragging Lex, touching the corner, but then Luger clotheslines him because he's touching the corner behind him without Stan realizing it, and he wins by touching the fourth corner. That was good. Strap matches do stuff like that too, but the bull rope match, there's a cowbell on it that's usually the weapon. The strap is the fucking weapon, and it's a little different because they beat the shit out of each other with it. The rope, they hang you, beat you with the cowbell. So they are different in that regard, but the way to win is usually the same. You have to touch all four corners by dragging the carcass of the guy whose ass you just whipped.
So do you prefer
I prefer
the cowbell with it, or you don't?
No, I prefer the strap match over a no holds barred match.
Okay. All right, cool.
You know what match I hate the most?
What match?
Because it's stupid. And it's probably the biggest insulting to someone's intelligence there is. Because I'm pretty sure some of them were for titles. Unsanctioned matches. But they say, we're not responsible for whatever happens to either one of you fucking cucks. You guys are unsanctioned. And then, new champion, Savio Vega. Like, what the fuck?
You know that happened in your NXT Black and Gold days with Ciampa and Gargano. They had an unsanctioned match.
Yeah. And it fucking turned into basically a fucking Falls Count Anywhere concession stand match. And yes, it had moments.
As long as you're consistent that you don't like the concept, I'm just saying Ciampa and Gargano did what you're saying that you don't like.
Just think modern memory, right? People look back at those matches fondly, Ciampa and Gargano, because of the storytelling in it, right? The best friends become best enemies, right? But were they writing Gargano off? I can't remember how that one or Ciampa. Somebody was hurt and they wrote him off, but it was a very definitive ending to the match. But that match, Aleister Black versus Damian Priest in the fucking ambulance match, Kevin Owens versus
Sami Zayn.
Roman Reigns for the title, because the Usos kept interfering, so it became some shit, and they're climbing fucking ladders and falling. It was Kevin Owens. And he won't say, if it's done right, they're not all bad, but they're usually, to me, just a bunch of fucking spots with garbage cans, tables, balconies, and ladders. It's just do it in the ring.
It's just the cheap.
I don't mind weapons matches. I just don't like when they don't stay in the ring. It's too hard to watch. I've never been to one live. I would probably go to the concession stand, because you're not going to see the shit anyway unless you're looking at the TV.
We can't please everybody, Reflectionize. TW has his standards. But with that being said, let's go on to the third one. And this was a promenade to set up a tag team match between the allied powers of Sting and British Bulldog and the masters of the powerbomb, Vader and Sid Vicious. Now, logistically, Reflectionize, I'll say this. Vader and Sid Vicious and Harley Race and Colonel Robert Parker are on a boat, and they are searching the Atlantic or maybe the Pacific Ocean for Sting and Bulldog. They find out with intelligence that they're on Epstein Island with the kids. So again, it is what it is. And, it was very weird that, I don't know why Sting and Bulldog had to be with these kids on Epstein Island. But again, we find out years later what Epstein Island is all about. But, I hate your man Sting loves Epstein Island. That's all we got to have to say. But at least we got the G-rated version of Epstein Island, because Sting and Bulldog was just playing volleyball with the kids. But neither here nor there. So the funny thing about this one, Reflectionize, is while they're searching for them, here comes Hornswoggle Sr. again, now as Jaws with a bomb. And now his job is to put a bomb on the boat of the Allied powers. And then another logistic funny shit that I love, that I was laughing at and how ridiculous this is when Vader and Sid Vicious came off the boat respectively. Did you look at their footwear, TW?
Yep.
My man Sid Vicious was in slippers, but still with his wrestling gear on. And my man Big Van Vader was in his wrestling gears, but wearing kangaroo sneakers. I was laughing with the footwear. And then with the bad editing, Sting was barefoot in one scene and Bulldog was barefoot in one scene. But then when the confrontation between them and the masters of the powerbomb TW, they both were wearing sneakers. But neither here nor there. That's just a faux pas that the professor picked out and the nitpicking. So TW, what say you about the third installment of the WCW movie madness?
The beach one is the one that I make fun of most of the time on this show. And Vader, they're blowing up our boat. But it actually was another Mandela effect, because it was a way different video than I remembered. Them cruising up on the fucking G.I. Joe aircraft carrier where it fucking drops down, and Sid's walking like fucking cartoon He-Man, and he's got his gear on with fucking flip-flop dongs. It's fucking hilarious. But even more hilarious is Vader in full gear with Jordans. And they walk through the water.
Wait. To be fair here, my man, my brother from another mother, when he goes out, you kind of do the Sid Vicious thing. You wear the good stuff up here, and then you get the flip-flops yourself. So you was inspired by Sid Vicious to do the flip-flops. Because no one's going to mess with TW. He will fuck up anybody with flip-flops. I'm just saying that. But neither,
Kung Fu fighting and flip-flops.
There you go. But go ahead, TW. I'm sorry to interrupt.
But Sting is like, this could get interesting. By the way, this is the gayest thing he's ever looked. He's got on, I don't know if this is fucking drawers or swim trunks underneath his cheek shorts. But
where were they?
Shorts, huh?
Where were they? Epstein Island. Why you think?
But his cheek shorts were unbuttoned and rolled like you roll your pant leg in the 90s, so that you could see his drawers under the fucking nut-hugging fucking booty shorts. And I'm like, Sting, what the fuck you doing here, dude? And then Bulldog's wearing the fucking period underwear that girls wear when they know they ain't fucking that weekend. It's insane. It's insane, dude. But Sid is just in full gear with taped wrists and elbow pad. It's great. The only thing missing for Vader is the fucking white robe.
Yeah, that's what it was. They were in wrestling gear. They were ready to fight, and of course, it was Robert Parker and Holly Race saying, we offer you this retirement home package. Do not take the match at Beach Blast and all that stuff. So, and then Sting acted like a coward because he was actually going to take the deal. Your hero, TW, that you have tatted on your arm, was afraid of the Masters of the Powerbomb, and it took Davey Boy Smith, an Englishman, to convince him to say, nah, I don't think so. You have to.
I actually watched that and thought Bulldog was new, so he should have been the one to say, let's just take the money. And the thing goes, not here, not on my watch. I'm Cody Rhodes in the future. So you and me are going to kick their ass. And Bulldog can go, okay. And then you also set up Bulldog turning on Sting later to take the money. It would have been genius.
That's a lot of good what ifs right there, TW. Yeah. But you know what happened? Bad management, contract situations, and Bulldog returned. Well, bad writing too, but Bulldog did eventually return to WWE a couple of months later. So I don't remember the circumstances on that one. But
he died on that exploding boat. He got written off television.
I don't know about what WCW. No, well, they had to write it off injury wise, but he just left. He just said, fuck it, leave it. But it's funny. And then we got to talk about the extras. We already talked about Hornswoggle Sr. This is his third appearance in a row. Now he's dressed as a shark. And then we got the kids. Now, I have no problem saying this, Reflectionites, that, kids are kids. They're impressionable. I'm not expecting them to be great Oscar award-winning actors. But TW, they had no emotion. They had little emotion when the boat blew up.
They were sore.
They were what?
Sore.
Yeah, it looked well. That's bad. That's funny.
From the explosion.
Are you sure? There was an explosion and a soreness going on at the same time. Oh God! All right, we're going to hell. We're going to hell, Reflectionize. But anyway, if you don't get that joke, I'm not going to explain it to you. But
please don't get it.
Please don't. We got it. We just please don't get it. But TW, the kids' acting was so bad, and even the two little girls when they were interacting with Hornswoggle Sr., it was funny, but it was more about what they were doing, the interaction with those two little girls and Sting and Bulldog. We just saw the little man by the boat, and then you had to talk. You want to talk about Sting's acting? What little man by the boat? Because he almost has to look like Superman. He's almost doing the Superman bullshit. What little man by the boat? And now he has to investigate the boat. And then Reflectionites, I kid you not, mute it and then play the theme song of Baywatch. Because we got a slow motion run by my man Davey Boy Smith doing a Baywatch run. And then my man flew. He flew to tackle Sting off the boat before the boat blew up, TW. So what say you about the cinematic ambiance and the action sequences right there?
That's probably right before he fucking got hurt and got hooked on drugs from that move, on his own stunts.
Well, they couldn't get Jackie Chan because he would, he didn't look like that.
So here's what I don't get. So he's there for this. He leaves, but comes back after the screw job, right?
That's not until 98.
Because that's when he got hurt. He bumped on the Ultimate Warrior's secret door or whatever.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So this is prime Bulldog solo career right here. Pre-Luger Allied Powers, I think.
Well,
no, just after it. 93? Oh, 92.
No, this is before. This is before the WWE version of the Allied Powers. This is the WCW Allied Powers version. Because they were doing the USA and Great Britain tights matching. They did it first. They did.
Fitting that it would be Luger that he did it with then.
Yeah, I'm just giving you the logistics.
AEW Trios champions if fucking Davey was still alive.
Yeah, they could. Yeah, they'd be better than the conglomeration. But anyway, neither here nor there. So, Kyle O'Reilly, Roddy Strong, and your favorite, Orange Cassidy.
They're called the fucking conglomeration.
Don't ask me. I don't write for them. I just give you the logistics. That's all my job is here. So
your job is to now tell me what day Kofi Kingston debuts so I can turn it on and see how fast he goes from Tommaso Ciampa to Tommaso Ciampa. That's what I want to see.
Two options there. It's either the pay-per-view that's going to happen in Canada, AEW Redemption next month, or in August for All In London. That's the options of Kofi Kingston
and Xavier, or just Kofi?
Both.
Yeah, I like Xavier Woods. I have high hopes for him. They're going to look huge there, just so you know. Kofi's kind of on the thin side, but Xavier Woods, who's probably going to be called Austin Creed there, right?
Or Xavier Creed, whatever.
Oh, he's allowed to use Xavier?
That's his name, yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that. His real name was Austin.
Either or. We'll find out. It depends if WWE owns that IP, then he's Austin. If he doesn't, if they don't,
he comes up Tiger Woods.
Jesus Christ. Well, all right, let's not get into that.
Kofi's called Kofi something else.
Well, we'll see. We'll find out if they own the IP
he
or
announced
not.
on Twitter what he was going to be called. He changed his Twitter handle to Kofi Cafe or some shit.
Jesus Christ.
Kofi Vega, I think. Or something.
Well, if I had the editing expertise of Big Ray, I would have had the drums, But so with that being said, any closing thoughts of the water, the Baywatch scenes and shit like that, or should we just move on to the peace statement?
Still not the worst one.
You sure that's not the worst one?
Oh, I'm
Sid Vicious in flip-flops, Vader in Ruse sneakers.
Once again, Gene Hackman Jr. saves the day.
Oh, okay. So with that being said, there is a main event to this Reflection Night. So we're going to talk about this. We're not going to go vignette by vignette because there was a lot of vignettes. This was actually a building block vignette, if you will, a cinematic vignettes Reflection Night. So with that being said, I don't know if TW did this. I tried to watch all of them. I can't remember everything, but I do remember certain parts. We're going to talk about the mastery of the Dungeon of Doom cinematic vignettes. Because remember, Reflectionites, Hulkamania was on a high pedestal, and someone had to bring it down. And the band that thought he could bring it down was the Taskmaster, Kevin Sullivan. But here's the twist, Reflectionites, if you don't remember this. Kevin Sullivan had to turn into the Taskmaster. He had to engulf the darkness into him more by his father, the true master. So TW, it was a maturation of Kevin Sullivan turning from, let's say, the Prince of Darkness to the Taskmaster, Kevin Sullivan. So what say you about, him turning into that? Because he had to do it from his father, the master.
What do I say about what?
The maturation of Kevin Sullivan turning into the Taskmaster, because he wasn't the Taskmaster yet.
That is not maturation. That is regression, and he was shits to begin with.
I'm trying to be objective here. You're just
first and foremost, God rest his soul. Probably helped a lot of people's careers that you and I are fans of, right? But at some point, just like people say, there's some breaking news I was just reading, by the way, in case you were wondering. The whole devil man, all that kind of stuff. His acting's terrible. Is that guy from TNA that tried to be Kevin Sullivan on steroids, that James, whatever the fuck is James Father Mitchell. It was terrible. It didn't fit. He when he was good?
Who, Kevin Sullivan?
The Varsity Club. When he was with the Varsity Club. Everything post Varsity Club, drizzling shit.
Okay, I'm not going to defend Kevin Sullivan's career here to a degree, but he was this dark persona way before you saw Varsity Club.
I know.
He was doing this in Florida. Yeah. He was the Prince of Darkness in a robe, going crazy.
Back when he was in better shape, had longer hair, he was a good worker. By the time he does this stuff, he's old. He's either had the book or he's getting the book soon. And he basically does what everybody else does who shouldn't get the book. Books for himself, and nobody else likes it. This is all Kevin Sullivan. I don't know if Jody Hamilton is also in on it or if he just casted him. But this is absolutely, it doesn't matter which one you pick. The one I always call the worst is when Hogan's running through the jungle and fucking Big Show takes him out and then looks at the camera and goes, Hogan, when I get my hands on you, I'm going to kill you. I'm like, you got your hands on him right now. What are you talking about?
We'll talk about we will talk about that next. I'm just saying,
but they're all terrible. There's not one good Dungeon of Doom good vignette. Not one.
I never said any segment was good, but this is cinematic. This is building blocks of the Dungeon of Doom stable. This is building blocks to Kevin Sullivan versus Hulk Hogan and Hulkamania. So this is a maturation or an evolution of his character to regress back to his Prince of Darkness and devil worshiping, thanks to his father, the Master, because the father had to turn him into that. He turned him into the Taskmaster. He wasn't the Taskmaster. He was the Games Master with the Varsity Cup. He became the Taskmaster with his father doing that. So now, TW, we have to talk about what it was. You want to talk about, well, if we're going to compare acting, at least this man is critically trained, and that's Hulk Hogan, Reflectionites. So now, somehow, some way, he is teleported to the Dungeon of Doom caverns, if you will, Reflectionites. And my man Hulk Hogan, his shirt is torn up and all that stuff. He doesn't know where he is. And TW, that's some great acting. He touches that water. He touches that fountain. And he says, "It's not hot, brother. It's not hot." And then, of course, the great acting between Hulk Hogan and the Taskmaster and the father. And then, like you said, the giant comes, I think he bursts out of a statue, and then he chokes Hulk Hogan down, and then you talk about all that stuff. So I guess you nitpick because he choked him down first and says, "When I get my hands on you." But to be fair here, he's talking about when I get my hands on you, I will beat you in that ring and take your title. But he didn't have to say all that. He just says, "I'm going to do it in the ring and do it in front of 10,000 people." I'm trying to defend it.
I will say this.
Mm-hmm.
All these vignettes considered, this is the best era of Paul White. Like, Paul White as the Giant is good stuff. Like, maybe the NWO was a little bit lesser, but when it was just him as the Giant, at first he didn't talk, but then he did talk. He could work. He did a lot of good stuff for a guy, even though we talked about it, I think, 2 weeks ago when Hogan called him and said, "Did you just drop kick a professor? Yeah. You ever do that again, I won't talk." Getting hung up.
What the hell?
But well, I had to pick someone short. But he was good. And when he first got to WWE, that's when he started putting on the weight and becoming the big slow, and he just wasn't as good anymore. He turned into what they wanted him to be all along in WCW. But I still think in the Dungeon of Doom is peak Big Show, especially because he's green and still was really, really good to watch.
Well, remember, his first, the reason he was there was that he was supposed to be Andre's son.
Right.
So he was trying to avenge his father's shortcomings at WrestleMania 3, even though he did defeat Hogan in Saturday Night's Main Event, but neither here nor there. That's logistics. They keep, people forget history. I just remember history too much, but neither here nor there.
Well, it's kind of easy to forget it when you're stealing someone else's. So it's
that is true. But like you said, this is peak Paul White, peak Giant stuff here because he is green. But I think they just kept him so one-dimensional that he had to be like, "Hogan, I'm going to choke you out." Even though he did choke him out, Reflectionites, but he's gonna keep telling you he's gonna choke him out some more and all that shit. So the Dungeon of Doom vignettes get kind of weirder, Reflectionites. So from what I remember about this, again, they wanted to end Hulkamania, and then certain instances about ending Hulkamania, they were recruiting people. So that's where you got I don't know if you call it recruitment or transformations, because remember, the Avalanche transformed into the Shark. Remember, Brother Brutai, a.k.a. the Butcher, now transformed into the Zodiac. We have to remember Ming transforms here, too, from being a bodyguard into Ming the Merciless, or whatever that fucking mask he was wearing. So, TW, what say about the transformation of all these guys? And, of course, you had to add Kamala, and then you had to add one-man gang. Not Akeem, but one-man gang and shit like that to the Dungeon of Doom.
Wasn't Abdullah with him?
No, not at this time.
Must have just been Kamala. Kimchi?
Yeah. No kimchi, just Kamala himself.
This is, in case you didn't know it, you know how when they come up with an idea, they do a sketch first, and they have the rough draft. This is actually the rough draft of the oddities. It's all the same guys, just they wear masks to hide who they really are. Big Show is Kurgan. A lot of people don't know that. Zodiac or Avalanche is South Park guy with the little gimp mask on. They're all, this is oddities 1.0. And then your boy Don Callis made the oddities a real life thing in WWE.
Yeah, but it wasn't good. I actually will take the Dungeon of Doom over the oddities any day out of the week.
All of it's not good.
I'm just saying.
Yeah, but you rubbed one out a lot to Luna Vachon, so I don't believe you.
That's okay. Yeah, did you see her in ECW? Well, her titties were showing and shit like that. But anyway, neither here nor there. But here's where it gets a little bit complicated and weird, Reflectionites, because during this, again, the Taskmaster also needed the services of another great actor, Big Van Vader. So, he did not know why he was called into the dungeon, TW, but again, he has to flex. He's got to go, I'm Vader. It's Vader time.
Masturbate at the same time.
All that stuff.
It's time.
And then while he wants to take down Hulkamania, then he has a call to consciousness because he tries to beat up the Giant. And of course, the Giant no sells and shit like that. So TW, it got weirder.
Didn't he beat the shit out of Vader, like 2 punches and threw him off screen like he did Hogan?
Unfortunately, it did not materialize because Vader got fired because of what he did with Paul Orndorff behind the scenes and shit like that. So we never could see where we would get to that situation. Because again, remember the Dungeon of Doom. This all materialized because it became War Games, Fall Brawl. Dungeon of Doom versus the Hulkamaniacs. So Vader was supposed to be one of the teammates of the Hulkamaniacs, but then he got fired and shit like that. But these vignettes was still going along, trucking along and shit like that. So
what was
the Dungeon of Doom or the Hulkamaniacs?
Both.
Well, the Hulkamaniacs was Luger, Sting, Macho, and Hogan.
Oh, the face paint one.
Yeah, the face paint one.
They were against the Dungeon of Doom?
Yeah. Against Taskmaster, Zodiac, Kamala, and the Shark. Yeah. And then when Hogan won, he got 5 minutes with Taskmaster in the ring alone, and then the Giant ripped the cage open and then finally got his hands on him and broke his neck again.
Oh, sent him to paradise.
Yeah. So TW, with all that being said, I guess this is the worst of all of them, of all the 4.
All of them. Pick one. It don't matter.
Why is
Dungeons and Doom Productions is garbage?
Because of Kevin Sullivan, or just because of what they did?
Dumb. They did run into the fucking jungle for a wrestling show. Come on, man, just god awful.
Okay, wait. We got Blue Oyster Bar, we got Andes Mountains, White Castle of Fear, we got Epstein Island, and then we got another cavern cave. All of them sucked. All of them make no sense. This is wrestling.
All the other ones had hot chicks in them, except for they all did.
Okay,
there was White Castle in the first one. The White Castle had a bunch of hookers, and then the beach had hot chicks playing volleyball.
Well, they're not legal. Porn. They're not legal. They're not legal. That's Epstein Island. I'm just saying. I'm just saying that. So with all that, TW, in closing, again, I'll say this. I give it A for effort for WCW, what they were trying to do, but they were trying to keep up with Vince McMahon. And Vince McMahon did not do this. I'm just trying to tell the Reflectionites he did not do vignettes to get to the match. He was just doing cinema stuff just to progress certain things along, but it never materialized into the match. These 4 vignettes, TW, let's respectfully say, actually led to these, special matches. It led to War Games, the White Castle Fear strap match, the tag team match, and of course the spin the wheel make the deal. So at least their cinematic vignettes had consistency and led to somewhere. WWE did not start doing that until later into the 2000s, because again, we could talk about all those cinema stuff again, even during the Monday Night Wars when WWE and Vince McMahon got serious. Rock and Austin were doing cinema stuff, fighting each other, or Austin and McMahon were. Remember, everybody always goes gaga over Austin beating up Vince McMahon in the hospital, beating down his leg. But that's in a bedpan too. That bedpan spot. But that's cinematic, leading to something and shit like that. They started doing that later on. So they actually copied from WCW, in my humble opinion. You agree with that?
Nothing's worse than the funeral of Vicky Six or whatever the fuck her name was.
Who?
The one where Kane's fucking a hand in the casket or whatever.
Oh, okay. Katie Vick.
Yeah.
You said Katy Perry. What the hell?
Katie Vickers, I said.
Oh, okay. I thought you said Katy Perry. I thought you would.
Terrible. Who's that behind Kevin Sullivan?
Where?
On the screen. Other way. That's Zodiac. There's me. Why do you got that one guy there twice? Does that mean Gene?
No, that's Bill Watts. And that's Jim Ross.
You got Bill Watts on there twice.
No, I got Bill Watts by
Look away again. Look away again.
Okay.
Move your Savio Vega shoulder.
Oh, okay. I see him. Well, Bill Watts is part.
Who's the guy? The guy behind fucking Kevin Sullivan looks like he's got a barbecue grill on his head.
Barbecue grill?
Yeah, he's got a yellow vest.
Oh my god!
Do you see?
No, I barely see it right now.
Who is that behind Kevin Sullivan?
I'm trying to see. Give me a second. Reflectionize. Now he's putting me on the spot because I'm trying to see like all the stuff. Okay, I got Shark, I got Zodiac, I got Kamala, I got the father, I got Bill Watts twice, I got Ming, and then Kevin Sullivan.
That's Ming.
Yeah, with the mask. That was his first.
Oh, okay. It looks like a barbecue grill, dude. Like the lid.
That was the mask he was wearing. That was the one that was bequeathed to Ming by the Taskmaster. This was This was the transformation.
Brutal.
It is what it is. So with that being said, we stretched it as best as we could, Reflectionize. So we close on this movie spotlight edition here at the HAMIN Media Group at podbean.com. What are we going to do next time? Maybe we might have to go to the movies officially. Or maybe we might have to do a what if officially. So, again, I'll keep you on your toes, Reflect. I'll keep you on your toes. So, TW, with that being said, give out those socials so we can finally get out of here.
Yeah. The PWC Network sponsors us at PWC Network at podbean.com. Also have HAMIN Media Group at podbean.com. You can catch us on X at PW Reflection. You can catch Big Ray all over the world bragging about his teams when they're winning or ignoring them when they're losing and shitting on every other team instead at Big Ray Hernandez on all social medias. And he can find him every Wednesday live on YouTube doing the next level podcast for NXT Recap. You can find me on X and Instagram at Tommy119. Snapchat is #Wonder. Facebook.com/Tommy Wonder, and you can find me on my other X and TikTok at the Tommy Wonder. And you can find Big Vito and his wife Noelle at the Big Vito, just at Big Vito brand on TikTok. You don't stop.
And shout outs to Big Vito and Big Ray. They were having fun in Florida, so they were all celebrating Big Ray's anniversary at the Blue Oyster Bar, so all that stuff. So it was a Blue Oyster anniversary.
Did he really get a tattoo down there?
Yeah, he did. It is what it is. So you can follow me on my Twitter or X at PWSPRF. That's PWSPRF. And tell a friend to subscribe to the YouTube page at Pro Wrasslin Reflection and all that stuff. And find me on the HAMIN Media Group YouTube channel, where I co-host the AEW flagship show, The Wreckage, with myself, Jimmy T, and The Vet. So check me out every Sunday at 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time on the HAMIN Media Group YouTube channel. So with that being said, I'm the Professor, or AKA Savio Vega Jr., and that's my man, the conservative liberal, the liberal conservative, the solo idiot, the iron stomach one, Mr. Wonderful himself, and the undisputed, undeniable Detroit Rock City Universal Heavyweight Champion of the World, the Tommy Wonder, saying good night, and we'll see you next time here at the PWR Podcast at the HAMIN Media Group at podbean.com. Yeah. Peace. Are you jacking off and shadowboxing?
Yeah.
Oh,
it's time.
Dude, don't get sore.